Hey, what's up guys? Crimson Thunder here, and we got a little special thing for you today. Falcon BMS 4.34. Now, this new update just came about 2 days ago, and before we get into we end up restarting the whole campaign, unfortunately again, because it's been a really long time since I actually had done this. I'm gonna get into do some dogfights. And I'm gonna go into the match play a little bit and actually practice my air-to-air engagements. Well, first we'll actually start with some other 3 out of 5 guns only, and we'll actually go up against, I don't know, say like an F-15 or something. And I'll crank the difficulty to ace, so I'm actually fighting a fairly fair fight. We'll do something like 10,000 feet to start with, and then we'll end up do a little bit of something else. Unfortunately, because of some issues with this particular game mode with TAC view, unfortunately I will not actually be doing this. I've actually done a recording session earlier today attempting to do this, and unfortunately there has been some kind of error as far as the right object types are concerned as far as the dogfights, so I will not be just showing the TAC view, but I will show you some tactics that you might want to consider while doing so, and depending on what you're going up against. A lot of the stuff I have learned from a YouTuber, even though he does DCS, but he's actually really good at it. His YouTube name is called Growling Sidewinder. I'm going to give a shout out for you for providing some awesome tips with going into such battles. But here in Falcon BMS, it's actually much more realistic, physics-wise. One of the things I didn't expect to be doing, though, is to be getting into this weather. So let's actually try to get out of the clouds, and we'll actually try to get in contact with. If we see where this F-15 is, looks like it's on our 6 o'clock somewhere. Once we locate him, we can get to work on it. "8 o'clock glow somewhere." This aircraft has a higher thrust-to-weight ratio. The enemy has a better thrust-to-weight ratio than I do, so getting into a two-circle flight may not be the best idea. Being able to pick up where the enemy is also important. Probably up there he is. I have a dogfight switch that I do have turned on. And we just try to altitude. Be careful of what we have. I actually have the HMCS that would be also in the MiG-29. It's also really useful when engaging in dogfights like this. And you just gotta be careful not to overshoot, and since we're going lower, we're going into higher density. Being careful not to overshoot. Got a little firing solution. There goes the F-15. Back to normal mode. That's round one. Not sure why the sim decided to do that, but unfortunately those are they're realistic situations. Since I cannot see, I'm going to go through the clouds and we're gonna go back upward. Now there he is. So we have a little bit of speed, we can go up a little bit. I'm gonna keep an eye on that guy.
Lock
him up. What this guy's gonna do, he's going to go here, so I'm actually going to go ahead and brake right so I can do a one circle.
Lock
Try to be careful not to allow him to get a firing solution. What I also like doing is getting a height advantage on these guys. It's always going to be important, especially at higher altitudes where they may not have a speed. I'm going to like throw my throttle just a little bit. Got a little firing solution there with the big dot.
altitude.
So we missed. He's attempting to go vertical. And looks like he's going to stall too. I lost airspeed. That's a bad mistake on my part.
Altitude. Lock.
There we go. You always got to be careful if that guy ever ends up showing their full frontal picture. Now, there's a bit slow speed going vertical is always a bad idea for no matter what you have.
Lock.
Because slow airspeed allows you to shot at, and it looks like I did actually take a hit out of him. He's actually trailing some oil, I think. Gotta be careful not to overshoot. Yeah, just gotta be careful not to overshoot. So I'm just gonna go back on my throttle just a little bit. Might be going a little bit slower, but
Lock.
in a real combat scenario, I'd be checking my sticks before attempting to do this. When I got a shot right there, but he's dead. Try one more time, and then we'll try to go out with another scenario. Sometimes it's weird, like being placed right in front of a cloud. I have enough speed so I can get to a little bit of altitude to see where this guy's at. There he is, he's down low. Try to maintain a speed as much as I can.
Lock.
Don't want to stall here. So don't want to go too fast though. Gonna brake lefts to start causing some problems. He's moving a little bit slow since he's at higher altitude.
Lock.
There you go.
Altitude.
This aircraft, compared to
Altitude.
what some people may have experienced at DCS, is that the helm HUD mounted Q, where I
Lock.
end up locking up one of the enemies. When you're in dogfight now, it has this little dot that I like to use in order to, I place on it to put it on there. That's usually what it usually does when you're leading, after you're starting to lead. Okay, he went to the clouds, but I see where he is.
Altitude. Altitude.
There we go.
Lock.
I just looked at my track IR in order to do some of the looking job for me. Not gonna turn with the bandit because that's one of the best ways you can overshoot. Gotta do a little spiral. Put some throttle in to get my speed up, but just gonna wait for the tide to turn. I'm gonna go ahead and turn along with it. Now, you don't want to pull, like, yank on the stick when you're trying to maintain some speed, because you will keep he's dead. It doesn't take many bullets to actually cause some serious damage. New in this particular version is that it now models some hydraulic, oil, and fuel leaks whenever damage occurs. There we go, the F-15's dead. Just being able to all you gotta do is just do a little bit of some little maneuvering and some tips. I'll link you Starlink Sidewinder's channel down below so you can see what some of the stuff that occurs, although they can be in different airplanes. But some of the same tactics with the F-16 should also would work there too, and of course anything that you might see in there should also work fairly well. It's just programmed a little bit differently in this particular video. But now let's go ahead and let's probably start at 50 miles out at a typical like combat scenario. We got like 26,000 feet. We're gonna put on 4 radar missiles, 2 air-to-air ECM. Turn off the unlimited ammo. And for this one, let's actually just go with the Sunny just for now. Just so we actually do just be able to do what we need to do. Now, beyond visual range engagement usually involves who's got the better tactics in order to win. And typically, you don't want to be slow when coming into a fight like this. New in here, we got the new IFF system. If you hit TMS left, it'll do a scan. And if they don't have a reply on here, then you can consider the aircraft to be hostile. Now, one of the things I don't want to do is fire too early. I can go with the missile overrides, so for my medium range whistle, so I don't have to. Alright, he fired a missile from quite a long ways away. Unfortunately for him, it's not going to do much, but I'll force him defensive too. And what we can also do is while we're maintaining the speed, I've got multiple options. Because he ended up firing from quite a long distance away, I'm going to actually turn perpendicular. This is also called beaming. And they have a missile over there that is... Oops.
Caution.
Guess he ended up firing more than one. Yeah, sorry, just haven't been here for a little while. Alright, let's actually not screw up this time. Alright, so the enemy has a spike, so 32 miles away. Not exactly the best type of scenario I want to be part of, but he's fired from quite a long way away. So since they're active missiles, we want to always assume that they're doing so. Gonna take a missile, turn on the ECM, because he hasn't acquired us yet. Want to now start turning to the beat, perpendicularly to the aircraft. What this will do is it will help along with the radar being able to see us. And what this will also do as well is have the missile continuously have to be able to turn. Now here's the missile. And the most important thing is you don't want to be slow while doing this. There's a couple of missiles that are actually on us.
Chaff, flare.
Gonna go ahead and drop some chaff in order to help with being able to get this missile off us. The aim ram is actually one of those ones where it's not so it's not so susceptible to some chaff,
flare.
but more like also maneuvering. But I'm not gonna go fly too slow. But the missile does actually lose speed quite quickly when it's being forced to turn like this. And at this point where when it runs out of energy for a sustained amount of time, I can just force the missile to basically self-detonate, and that trashes it. Okay, we got a couple more. Okay. 15 miles. I'm doing a Fox 3.
Chaff, flare. Chaff, flare.
And also what I'm doing here is dropping altitude.
Altitude.
This will also force the missile to actually come down into denser air, since air actually is much more dense at this down here, which actually forces the missile to slow down. As you see here, it's actually causing the missile to lose speed pretty rapidly. And after like a short amount of time, what I do is I climb back up, and because the missile has lost so much speed while going down there, it's just literally impossible for it to follow me. This is what Growling Sidewinder has done for what he calls dragging the missile into some air. I forced him defensive, so now it's just a thing of who can fire first now. Okay, I now got him. Now, 16 miles at 20,000 feet isn't like super optimal. I'll go ahead and fire, and once again,
Chaff, flare.
gonna drop some chaff, and I'm also go fly directly beam to it. I'm gonna nose dive. You don't need to have
Altitude.
as much throttle
Altitude.
here because in order to save fuel. I mean, the thing's already going to not connect with me. I mean, it's already slow because it's already I'm down low and I forced it to go low. It's already not going to perform as much. And once I start coming back up, the missile does not have enough energy to just simply keep up with me. And at this point, I believe I just trashed the missile already. He's done the same thing to me as well. So now I have defeated his missile, and he's now starting to turn right back towards me. Box 3. Shooting up at a thinner air like that will improve the missile's performance. That's actually why, because I forced him pretty defensive. So yeah, I can keep checking. He's already running. Now you know how I ended up. So he has to spend a lot more time to actually like come back around. And there's his jamming. Yeah, he's already trashed this missile. And now we get into some air-to-air combat maneuvering.
Chaff, flare. Lock. Chaff, flare. Chaff.
Okay.
Caution. Caution. Warning, 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 warning.
Lost. Engine failure. Guy came. Can't even believe that guy just kept missing me like that. 16 miles is an okay shot. Now here up at altitude, it's actually. Let's see how much better the missile performs. Now you see how that missile actually has a much better chance of hitting when the higher up you go. That's the result of the very very thin air that the missile has to keep fighting against. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's burn our way up. Lost him. If he's gonna go ECM, I will as well. Gonna try to make me go defensive. Fox 3. Now, if I'm really this high up, the best chance I have is to maybe do a 90-degree nosedive, where I can actually attempt to drag this thing into thin air. I have a missile going at a Mach 3.
Altitude.
I can also attempt to now go defensive and just outmaneuver. And meanwhile, because of the altitude, he ended up getting smacked with something that went over Mach 2. And as a result, I have won this particular round. I think this is round 5 now. Missile override mode. Gonna attempt to jam. This little bracket is gonna start coming up the higher I go too. Box 3. Alright, the missile is now starting the track. Beam, and we want to dive as quickly as we can. I'll do trim down on it if I have to.
Altitude.
missile does not have enough energy to keep up with me as I climb back up as well. And that's that missile trashed. Now I gotta go find out where the other one went. Or the F-15 went. Okay, there's the jamming. Back at 25,000.
Chaff, flare.
As I'm diving down, the missile's actually losing the speed pretty rapidly
Altitude.
as I'm going down. My missile's gonna hit because of the air density, and his missile will not. Him pulling up, that's one of the worst things you can do. There, the missile detonated, and that's the end of that. Okay. Alright, so when it comes to the beyond visual range combats, one of the best things you can do is be up high. If you ever seen his Growling Sidewinder's most recent videos with the F-14, fights at a really high altitude against something like an F-14 with its Phoenix missiles, those are extremely dangerous because they are capable of doing really high speeds. But when you're at lower altitude with the radar missile, you don't want to be firing it from as far away. And hopefully that's just a little bit of a warm-up for me. It's been a while, and I apologize with any mistakes I had. Give a shout out to Growling Sidewinder for doing some videos on how on some of those BVR tactics and such, with a variety of things. It's actually helped quite a bit. And in Falcon, it's actually presented a little bit more realistically, just because they put so much time into actually doing this, all the programming is. Till then, I'm Crimson Thunder. See you next time.